Steve, that was some game, wasn't it? Full of talking points, full of incident, and at the end of it, you've come away with a point.
Yeah, I think it's full of instant, because there's that amount of goals, there's decisions for the referee to make. But from our point of view, I think when you consider from the start of the game, we've lost a player yesterday, Martin Olsen, so we've had to reassemble a little bit, and then we've got a few decisions to make at half time because Michel Salgado's got concussion, then Paul Robinson's got stitches in his head, Gail Geavy's got a bad gash in his shin. But for the lads then to go and get something out of the game, considering we played for the second half with 10 men for so long, it was only a few minutes into the second half when David unfortunately was sent off. So I thought we showed character and real application to go and grind something out of the game. You
must have thought it never rains but it pours, given what happened early in that second half.
Yeah, because I felt as though we had a great start, and then we after the goal we started doing things we hadn't practiced and hadn't spoken about. We were playing a lot of kind of slow football in the middle third. We were getting caught on the ball when we wanted to be quick. We wanted to play it off the front. Then when we got them in at half time and had a chat with them, the information was to try and keep 11 players on the pitch, because obviously some of the lads had picked up yellow cards. I think David's got a little bit on the ball, but I think Andre's in a difficult position because he's behind David and also behind the player that he tackled, so probably difficult for him to see. But I thought when we went to 10 men, we were excellent because everybody had to do their job, and then a little bit more, just protecting space and then trying to play on the break. And I thought Yakubu up there on his own put in a fantastic shift as well.
Yeah, he was the centre of that most controversial incident in the game. We've just spoken to him and he said he didn't touch the ball before Morten Gams Pedersen then brought it on.
I was surprised to see Morten run along the byline with the ball. I thought that the Yak must have just rolled his studs on the ball and it was in play. Having said that, I felt as though there was other little decisions. When they've got the toe poke goal, I felt as though that the ball was still rolling when Caldwell's playing it forwards. The first goal I think was offside. I've not seen it again, but I'll have a look at it tonight. I think Connor Salmon's directly in the eye line of Paul Robinson when the shot comes in. So if you've got a decision, then there's a couple that's not went our way.
You were on the wrong end of a very late and controversial penalty at Norwich. You've got one less controversial, obviously, here yourself.
Yeah, we've got a penalty late on. I don't think it was controversial in any way at all. I think the lad's foot's very high. Paul's got a bad gash in his head and his cheek. We threw him up just to try and get a bit of confusion in the box, and he's won as a penalty, which is great. Yeah, and as you say, a few weeks ago we get one that Steven Nzonzi doesn't know anything about when it drops and it hits his arm, and that was late, so that one's went against us. But I didn't think that was a penalty. This one I think was merited, and I thought it was a good decision.
You said you were setting your side up for an away win, but in the balance of things, you must be delighted with the point.
Yeah, we wanted a victory. We felt as though we were playing well, we were creating chances, and we've done it again today. We're scoring goals. But then the nature of the game, when you go down to 10 men, then it's going to be backs against the wall, and I think that's the type of performance that we've put in today.
Yakubu's asked the fans to get behind you. Again, they were voicing their frustrations, weren't they? How difficult is it for you to stand there on the touchline and have to deal with that week after week?
Well, I think there's a minority of the fans. I think when we score and when we're in the lead, the fans are behind us, and then obviously they get a bit frustrated when we, other team equalise or we go behind. But I think when they reflect on the performance that the lads have put in, they're fighting for each other. They're totally behind what we're trying to do, the lads, and I think they've showed that, because if they weren't, it would be impossible to get results like this today.